Okay, the boot's got a little crack in it, so I'll replace that. I think this is pretty good shape otherwise. Gotta get all the rust off it. I can't, my sandblaster got burnt down, so I hope it comes in within this area, but I doubt it will. Now, this is the rusty one that I'm not using, but this is the same size, and it looks, it's obviously a little bigger. So I'm gonna have to use some kind of adapter, and it looks like it looks like it might fit in that side. So who knows? Maybe I'll be just slipping it in. So okay, so this is an old rust. This is the other rusty one I didn't use. I got another one on the car, so I'm gonna go ahead and sandblast this drive shaft. I think the drive shaft basically needs to be cut down. So I might just be cutting this off and then mapping it here. So that'd be kind of nice. I'll get one of these. I think these are Dodge Neon boots, or they're on eBay for $200 or $250 freaking dollars, some bullshit. Get that one done. I'll show you. There's a couple different styles of these. One can be slipped in through, and one has to be slipped over. I believe this is the over style because it's got this. I don't know. I gotta look at the manual, but one of them has to be slipped over, and one has to be slipped in. Can be slipped inside. You can see it moves about. It moves a pretty good amount. It moves probably 2 inches. The length of this guy is what it moves. So I let it kind of fall naturally where it was originally stock. So I need to get this super clean to be able to get a good seal here and here. But I might go over this way, or I'm going to go over this way. It's a long way to go with that small end, but we'll see. I gotta get this open. Grease looks pretty good in here, actually. It's a little rusty, but it's all cleaned up. I didn't have it sandblasted, but it's at least all the rust is off of it. Got some primer on it. So boot is a Dorman 614001 constant velocity joint boot kit. Now this is joint boot grease, and you're supposed to fill it up, but I wouldn't do that. They are talking about centrifugal force, and I don't know what kind of grease this is, and I'll see. I just don't think it's as thick as normal, so I'm just going to do what I need to do, get enough of it. So anyways, you use this guy, and it's a pretty good thing. You just cut it as you need. So I'm going to cut it right here, and then obviously getting it on. We'll see about getting it on. Somebody said take it from well, some of the other ones you put in through the boot, in through here, and you take this cover off. I'm going to do that real quick, and you put it inside. And then another guy said just slip it on inside out all the way across the drive shaft. I'm going to get color paint on the drive shaft here right now, a good black, like gloss black. So I'm going to get this off of here, get these cut, and get the cap off of it here. You'll notice this is the end I'll be using. This is not the end I'll be using, but this is a rusty version of the end I'll be using. It's already in the car. I'll be taking this off of here. More than likely I'll be cutting it off here. The drive shaft is too long with the Hemi, so size wise it doesn't seem, it might perfectly slot right in. I don't know. So I've got a little couple, 3 or 4 extra inches on the one in the car. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this up there and measure it first of all. Instructions show you using a boot. You have a boot thing, it's just a cone. You can use a funnel as opposed to pay the extra $10. And then you spray it with stuff. Some kind of, of course they have their own special lubricant, sure. Comes in the kit, I'm sure. Wipe it off, fill it full of grease, etc., etc. On in the car, and I'm not going to do it on the car. Use the right size, release trapped air, packing the joint with provided grease, clamps, clamps. And they use, I don't know if they're using a special tool or not. They probably sell you a tool to do it, but I think it's like a crimper. I think I have a crimper actually that'll do it, something similar. And then they cut it off after the fact. They just score it. So I'll probably just leave it on too. I was going to cut it, but I'll leave it on, cut it off when I get done. So I kind of got rained out, and then I ran out of welding gas, so I couldn't weld the end on. But it's all cleaned up. There's some original grease in it. I guess it would be the fibrous grease, if you want to say whatever it is. It looks pretty good in there. It's not too bad. I'll put some more in there. And honestly, that's where you want it out here. This is where the grease kind of sits, this little channel here. And I'll just put some more grease in there. It moves really good. I mean, this was a pretty clean. There was nothing, there was no breakage. It was starting to crack though. But now I'll figure out if to put it over, if I can slide it through, or if I can take it this way, take it back, reverse, see which way I have to take it. It's a pretty small hole, but they do it. So they have no problem going over the size of the, like they show it going, obviously it's got to go over. They show it sliding over a boot pretty darn big, so it's not going to tear it or anything, so they slide it over a boot pretty darn big. About the grease, it says there's fibrous grease. From the manual calls for fibrous grease, or whatever that is, from the factory manual. There's no, some people say you should put padding in here, but that's just fibrous. It just means that the grease is, it's a really, really super heavy grease. It says use 1.5 ounces, but I'm going to use what I got. I'm probably going to use some special molybdenum grease in here, so we'll see. Okay, so I'm just going to pry these tabs off, and when you're prying these off, make sure you don't take them any farther than you ever need to go. Like that's, you don't want to break these, so just take them off just far enough to clear that. You might need to take them all the way completely off, just so you can get it loose and moving. So I think I'm just going to drag the boot through here. Now obviously that'll get all greasy and grimy, but I'll get some gloves on, and hopefully it won't get me, it's going to be a nasty job, but let me get this off. Okay, since I can't do this video and do the same thing, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slip this guy in here, slip it through, and I did pull all the grease out. I'm going to use, I've got some, this is synthetic Durablend, it's the molybdenum stuff. It doesn't matter. I mean, this is good stuff, so it's synthetic, doesn't matter. It's all, this is actually pretty dried out. This stuff was pretty dried out, so you can see it's kind of like, it definitely needs replaced. So I'll get some new stuff in there, all packed nice. I'm not gonna go crazy, just to like I said, the majority of it's spinning out here on these edges. You really don't need anything in here because there's nothing there. So it's not like, you know, why would you need to pack this full of grease? So I'll just pack this thing kind of in full of grease and call it a day. So since I'm shoving it through, I'm just going to put some, I just put some silicone stuff here. And since I am shoving it through, I cut the back end off. Why shove even more through that you don't need to? I'll trim it to here when I get there. So I'm just going to shove it through, and I'm going to use like a paint stick or something. So get it through here. Silicone makes things a little slippery, but eventually you'll get here. Kind of got to push it in and then peel. You'll eventually get there. And there's a little ridge right here, so I'm going to use that little ridge to put that piece right there. Pack it full of grease, and then get these guys clamped on. Like I said, there's basically no grease in here right now. It's kind of clean out all of it when it was pretty dry, so I will. I might clean up some of the rust here. Get this nice and clean, and then put new all new grease. But all in all, and this was in good shape. This drive shaft was in good shape. I know a lot of people's aren't. It did have rust on it, so it looks kind of. I'm not a happy camper about this. I like to have a nice, smooth, perfect looking drive shaft, but it is what it is. So I think I only have a couple drive. I'm missing a couple drive shafts for cars. Most things I get is junk. Since they're just haulers, people have undone the drive shafts a lot. So. Or they've taken the engine out. So. Okay, don't forget this thing lines up with this hole for some reason. I don't know why, but it does. So line it up correctly and slap it back on. Okay, you got the tools for these. It makes it a little easier on these things, but you can see there it's moving. This one's moving a little bit, but you need that tool. This one's nice and tight. This one's not quite, but these things have lips on them, but everything's nice and greased and final product ready to go back in the car, at least on this side. So front job complete. Now I just got to weld to here. So yeah, that's going to be still looking at the clearances, of course, but anyways, that's the boot, and worry about the drive shaft later. Once I get new gas, I have to go get one more welding gas. Okay, I did jack the rear end up as far as it'll go, and you can see it's probably not 100% road, but obviously the weight of the car now is on the rear axle. They've lifted up a little bit off the jack stands. That's not good. I need to move that up a bit, but the weight's all on the front of the car right now, and the back, obviously the middle of this jack right here. So there's the new back universal joint, but I'm going to go ahead and measure it up here. I just stuck two nuts on it, and I lost some of my paint on my paint's peeling off my 415 paint. Anyways, kind of dirty. I guess I could touch that back up. But this is actually a brand new parking brake, disc brake, and everything. So I need to get in here and get this hooked back up. But all the hardware in here is brand new. So I need to finish locking this puppy down to the I need to coat this back end here and the back end of the torsion bar. Probably coat this with grease. I don't have the caps on the 57. I need to get these bolts up here, locked in. Everything else, these guys are in. Need to get some, and this transmission will be locked in, and that's done. The lines are already hooked up. The lines are hooked up. Got new oil in it. So anyways, you can see I got this. So I need to just go down here and measure this puppy. It's underweight. You can see it's actually off the jack stand. I didn't like that. I try to use these gloves and stuff. I try to use welding gloves on my jack stands, but I didn't have enough. So I'm probably going to end up reshooting some of this frame with just touching up because of the green. I need to get rid of this green stuff here that came through with the internal frame coating spray. This is tape that's left over. I'll wipe that off there, but yeah, I love this green crap. Came all over the place. So anyways, there's the fuel line. Got some attachments for the fuel line. I was worried about this, but it should be okay. So we'll go back here and measure this thing. Okay, I got them side by side, and I'm obviously going to get rid of this weight here. So I'll probably be cutting it off right here. I'm going to straight edge it a bit. So I'm going to double check my straightnesses here and probably do it somewhere along here. And I think I'm going to potentially add, like this is all down. I might add a 1/4 inch for 1/4 inch spacing, because I don't know, just to be safe to have. You don't want it to be you don't want it ever to be too tight. So I don't want that to be locked in there, because this obviously, you know, it expands a bit back. So I'm going to probably give myself at least a 1/4 inch from the cut, in between the two cuts, to move back a little bit. Move this drive shaft back just a 1/4 inch to make sure I have the clearance. So it looks like my cut mark is going to be, obviously I don't want it down here, so it's going to have to be here. So I just have just enough. I'm probably just going to cut right here. So anyways, the mark will be like right here. And I'm actually going to get a square here and try to square it up a bit. Do the best I can, and then, like I said, and then take a 1/4 inch off and then weld it. So. Okay, so the issue is to get this Ford 8.8 inch Explorer drive shaft end into the 57 Dodge drive shaft rear end, and obviously this is not good. So basically I have to be able to center this distance perfectly. It's a little difficult to do. I think it's 170 thousandths, but I did find this. This is a 3-inch pipe that I happen to have, and it fits the 8.8 Mustang 8.8 perfectly. So this will help me close the distance. I believe an 1/8 inch. It's an 1/8 inch tube. So that'll help me close the distance, and then I'll just be, I think, a 16th in, and I can deal with that. So I gotta get, this needs to be cut cleanly, and I'm gonna actually stick it in here and use this as a guide point because it'll be straight and aligned, and then I will end up cutting a piece off of here, hopefully as straight as possible, and then that will go into here, and then I'll get a spacer around it, and then I'll be good. I bust out the big guns when I'm cutting the, I bust out the 6-inch discs when I'm cutting drive shafts. That just gets you maybe a little straighter line. Not a huge, but I mean it can go halfway through, keeping half of the side straight. So you got to watch these ones. They're nasty, but it works. Okay, so I've got my measurement here. So from this point to this point is where the drive shaft from the 57 Dodge has to meet. So what I've done is I've shoved this inside of here, pounded it in a bit, and it is nice and aligned. It should give me a pretty darn good straight drive shaft. And that's really the issue, is make sure everything's perfectly straight. It's kind of hard to do when you're welding multiple tubes together, but as long as they slide in, like this is the correct inner and outer diameter to lock it down. So I'm going to go ahead and put a big giant bead here and smooth it off with a grinder so there's not big blobs of weld and stuff. But and then I'll cut it here. I'll cut it like probably out here or something, and then I'll figure out another way to get another spacer in between this surface and I think just a sheet 18 gauge or 24 gauge sheet metal. I'll have to do that. That's not ideal, but I need something to get it squared. Okay, so the drive shaft is done, and it says it's not a dump truck, it's a series of tubes. That's an old internet meme, showing my age. All painted. This is the it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. Stretches from here to there, and basically it'll sit here, and I did everything according to, I kind of put it in the middle is what I did, and then that's my spacing, and then I put pressure on the rear end. So anyways, all nice and clean and painted. Not this $300 garbage, but I think they brought the price down. It's like if you need, you get $250 for this and the piece, so that's not bad. I guess if you need it. But all nice and shiny and new. So this is way stronger than, it's a little, I'm worried about the weight back here, but it is closer to the end. So if I have to, there's actually a local drive shaft balancing shop. So if I have to, I'll take it out there if I get vibration. These things were never balanced from the factory anyway, so see how it goes. Okay, this part of the drive shaft hooked up. I'll show you how a Ford 8.8, it obviously the pinion angle is good here. It's got a little bit of an angle. I'm worried about a little bit much of an angle here. I know it's probably pretty straight coming off the original engine. I've got a bit of an angle. You can't really see it because I can't get a camera far enough, but you can see that's about as far as I can get it. You can't really tell. It's got a little bit of an angle going. Looks like my parking brake is partially engaged. So I'm hooking my parking brake up also. And it is like it's engaged. So yeah, it's locking up, I think. Something. Oh, I know it's got me up. So paint's peeling on this thing. There's some dust and some of this. I might have to touch this back up like I care, but get the dust off it. This guy's secured now. You can see the pinion angle. You can see the offset. It looks pretty good. It looks like it might hit if it would have to go up. This isn't the problem here. These aren't the problems here, right? So what happens is the drive shaft does drop. It drops down out of the car. So by the time it gets back there, it's not going to hit that edge, because I would be afraid it would hit that edge right there if the drive shaft had to fully sink up in there. And I won't really know. Problem is, I'm trying to hook that drive shaft up back there. Those three of those bolts are locked in, but I can't do anything about the fourth one because I stuck it in the rusted holes. There's 8 holes, so I stuck it in the rust hole. And I think if they do it for vibration, they'll rotate it to the next set of holes. If it's vibrating, I won't know. I mean, they said even if you look at the factory instructions, they said even a overspray of rust proofing will cause a vibration. So I'm probably going to have to take this thing out to get this guy balanced, and hopefully that would get rid of my vibration. The pinion angle on this thing is supposed to be 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 on the Ford. The factory on this is 2, technically 2. It can be 1, but it can be 1 to 3, but they wanted it 2.5. So let me look at the parking brake here. So I've got the parking brake routed over the torsion bar here. Oh, there's a bolt here. I need to figure out. I think it goes here. I need to figure out where that is. I'm gonna go check the my 300C over in the garage and then see. So the cable comes in here. Now there's a big piece of rubber right here that you have to get out, and it's actually a rubber insulator, like a water sealer thing here to stop water from coming into here. And you gotta I'll get this locked down. I think it's not a 1/2 inch bolt, smaller than that, but so this crushes this this seal in here. There's a big rubber seal that wraps around and then comes into here. And I've already got it hooked up. And inside the parking brake, you'll see this. If I can get under here. Come on. That's stupid. So here's the parking brake connected. So, and then there's the adjuster. This is all lubed up. Like I said, it's pretty much like new. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this down, and I think it's too tight right now, but I'll get it locked down and adjust it out. So you adjust it from up here. There's 2 screws, 2 bolts. You can see 2 bolts here. You're going to see 2 bolts, 2 nuts right there on the end. I got to double check to see if that's how you adjust. I've got the one I cut out of it right here. So this is the one I cut out of it. And yeah, you'll see these 2 nuts right here. This is the one. This is the rubber. The rubber was sitting in this. So I think you got to agree. I lubed it up to slide it in. It's kind of tore up, but it'll work. But and then this is the cutoff cable. This was the one I cut out of the original parking brake. So this guy goes here, and then this adjusts in and out here. This stays here, but this adjusts in and out, and obviously you'll take this and this will come out more and more and put more tension. So I don't know where this guy is in relation to, this is pretty far off. This is already down here. I think this one is, I think it's all the way to the top. No, it's not. It's even farther down than this one. It's probably too far down. So I need to back these off a little bit. I need to back this off a little bit, and then I can relock. I can relock this, and then this locks the piece in tight with, and obviously the pressure goes against this. So it just gives you that distance of the adjustment, and then there's the adjuster here too, and there's adjuster here. So that's the pad in and out, and this is the cable tension. This is the cable tension up here, and then this is the pad, the actual pad in and out distance. So I'll get see what I'm gonna have to watch the directions on that, on the factory directions. So, and then there's a cover plate, and there's 2 bolts. So this cover plate goes here, and it's got a hook. So yeah, I painted it wrong. Yeah, it goes here. So, and that cover plate will go there with some screws. But I guess you just hook it here, and then slide it. So see how that goes. Anyways, I'm gonna have to watch the directions on this puppy. So now this is the inside of the parking brake here, and you're gonna notice this guy. Now I have this backwards. Typically, it doesn't matter though, as long as the cable lines up on it, and it does. And you can kind of see the play on the pad, if you can see it here. Like I can feel the pad go. You'll hear it. That was a pad play. So let me try pushing it back. So what this is the lever, and you'll just see this lever come here, and it compresses across the top, etc., etc. Now you spin this whatever direction. Now there's a nut here, there's a bolt here, and you'll see should see the threads here. If it'll focus, anyways, you'll see the threads here, and you can't turn this because there's this notch in the back, but you can turn it if you turn it with hard with a screwdriver, and they have a tool for it. You can see I kind of boogered mine up. But anyways, when you spin this, spinning this down on this side. Now this, if it's reversed, obviously that's not right, but like I said, it doesn't matter which way it is. The manual actually shows it being the opposite way, but I mean obviously you need to get to this thing. So that does this little spacing of the pad and the pad, and then what they do is they say you turn this, you know, this. And now I think I have some issues with it hitting. It's actually hitting right here. That's when I put the damn thing in. I lost some paint. I might have to touch it up, but I don't really care. But like you can hear it, and that's not pad. You can hear pad when you hear it. Like you'll hear pad, and pad's different noise. I don't know. That sounds like pad, but anyways, so you turn it, and then you get it to where they said where you get it to not hear anything, or where you hear it, just the pad touch, and then you turn this back a full notch. You turn this side would be down. If it's opposite side, it's probably up. I don't know. Anyways, just make sure, you know, obviously this is the nut, and this is a nut going on it. So, you know, off is this way, off is down this way for now. It's the opposite way. It'll be up, I guess. Yeah. So, anyways, and then you got the 2 screws here. You got to take this little cover off here. But you can see this thing when it pulls all the way up to here. Now I thought it was nicking here and stopping it, but I don't think so. I just adjusted the cable. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lock this guy. I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to lock it, and I'll put that lock nut on there. Man, this thing's annoying. It was falling apart before. That won't come undone. So I'm going to lock this guy down and then lock this bolt back on it. And see how it does. It did well. If I pull real hard, but the throw was really long, that's why I had to adjust this. If the throw is real long, this is your problem, because this is taking up the slack. You do this. This is for pads. This is for tightness on the pads, and then this is for the cable throw. So obviously, you know, they work in conjunction with each other, but this is your main, this is your pad driver, because it takes that distance up. So obviously if the throw won't go, you know, but anyways, that's how you do the parking brake. Next up is the throttle cable. Okay, so seeing how I need some space for my gas tank to go down, because as you can see, my gas tank's plug is just too high right now. I can't even get the you put the gas cap on it, I'd never get a cap on it, so it's got to go down about a ½ inch. So I not only have some sound insulation, so I went and got this stuff. Now this is 1/4 inch thick. Now I got way more than I need. I got a 42 by 120, and I'll use this for something else. I'll use this for flooring here, some padding. So let me show you. Looking at a factory install on a 58 Plymouth, you can see the seal. It's kind of got this little knob. It's like you could kind of grab it, and that's pretty much flush here, and then flush with the bottom of that lip. So I'll show you mine, current one. Okay, I got 4 of these straps, 1.5 inches wide, and I'll just put them like that. So that should get me my extra space I need on the tank nozzle. So we'll see if that works. Okay, so it's pretty darn close. This can go down a bit more. This is probably going to pass muster now. Okay, while you're here, don't forget to lube all these up. I poured oil down this guy. This is the shift cable, so you're going to have to get, if you put oil here and then you move it up and down, if you put oil right here on this line and then push it in, that's what I did, is just keep going back and forth. Put oil on it, push it in, put oil, and eventually it'll get in there. So this is all nice and free now. So I did the same thing for the speedometer. I actually pulled the speedometer. I pulled the speedometer. You can actually get the speedometer cable out of it. So I pulled it actually out and filled the whole thing full of oil. Now it spins real easy, like 0 effort, because it'll come out on the front end. So typically these are caked full of old conventional oil, so I put a nice synthetic in there. It should last a lot longer, probably my lifetime. So it's all nice and fairly painted, good enough. It'll do good. So what else? Yeah, so I'm gonna actually start. All this stuff is pretty much done. All this stuff's pretty much done. Get the heater in it, and start wiring here. Get this. I'm gonna get the speedometer cable in, brake cable, or brake cables, shift cable. I might see about the foot pedal yet. I still gotta put that in there. Parking brake cable, it's already in there. Just secure all those lines. Get the fuel lines hooked up with the carb on it. Get it on the ground, and start the wiring. So the wiring is really going to be, and I'm going to be cutting and buffing between that, but it's not pretty, but got to get the car cleaned out here first once I get on the ground. This is a proportioning valve I have. It's a Mopar 1. I've got the 3/8 to half. I think this is 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter. I'm not so sure. And then this one's got 1/4 inch and then 3/8. So it uses like a bunch of different sizes. Kind of freaking annoying. So I ordered a 3/8 adapter kit. There's like a box, just has a bunch of. It's on eBay. I think the dude's called. You look on eBay, the dude's called the Stop Shop. He's got these. This is a 1/4 inch adapter fitting kit, but you don't want this one. You want the 3/8 if you're going 3/8. Now these things are a little bigger too, so I'm gonna drop them down to 3/8. I don't care. I think this is a 1/2 inch and this is like 9/16. So I'm probably gonna mount this puppy. You can see the brake lines right here, wherever it went. Brake lines right here. I got to secure that, and then that'll come in, that'll go to the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to map it. I'm going to put a bolt here. I'm going to put some kind of bracket coming off here, and then this will come out the back. And then this one, I think this goes to the left, this goes to the right. And this will connect into the, and this might be the rear, and this might be the front. I can't remember, I'll figure it out. So, and then I think it's got to be this way though, sorry. They have this adjuster on top, figure that out. So it'll be something like that probably. You got to get this fairly secured, so I'll have a pretty, like, I'm going to extend this bolt. I'm going to get a bit longer bolt for this and then put it out inside of it. Maybe put it right up against it, but on the master cylinder there. It's got to come out a bit though to get around this. So, still got a bunch of work to do, but that's brake wise. All kinds of brake pieces and parts. I need to make the bracket to hold it on top too, and that's about it right now. Okay, I'm getting the, this is the shift cable here, coming down here. I gotta get this thing cleaned up. I should have painted this one. I'll have to paint this one by hand, which is the parking brake. And like I said, typically there's a clamp right here that it goes through. I'll probably maybe reinforce this guy because this will come over to here. This will come back here. It'll go in here. I don't like it. I think it's just too weak here. So I'm going to put some new bracing in here. I'm going to run the speedometer down here too if I can. The speedometer comes out here and I don't think it goes there. But I'll get some nice synthetic oil down it. And I got it almost painted here. This is all, this wiring harness is all going to get redone, so I really don't care about this. But like I said, this is your speedometer, and here's your parking brake here, and here's your shift cable. I don't like that grommet, so I'll have to figure out, either put a new one in there. This one could be closed up with some dum-dum. Shift cable, you can see this. Now this is this plug, you know, the ones that plug in, locks in. It's all nice. I cleaned the paint off and everything. I'm not going to worry about this. That's going to be good. Everything, keep this looped up. I might put some oil through this also. Let me show you inside here. Now, like I said, this was my wiring harness from the car, and it was just this was like it. So that's why I'm not going to be using it. I'm just going to be wired. That's why I wired everything. I think it's a whole new wiring harness. Anyways, here's the shift cable here. I'll clean it up a bit and get it looking a little better. And this, like I said, this is the this newly painted one. I got to finish the back side. Is the did some wire brush on it, just clean up a little bit. So that's your speedometer cable there. And like I said, I need to get a new handle if I can. Like, those are typically red, and I tried to wire brush it just a bit, it just fell apart, so I don't want to do any more damage to it. I just want to be able to use it. My new brights, low and high beam. You'll see the cable up here for the parking brake. Obviously that's a gaping hole, I don't want that. I'll fix all these holes. There's my hood hinge with the dum-dum on them. So I'll make sure everything's nice and real tight. There's my, I'll get to spray that down real quick. But I'll get that wrapped up. So I'll have the parking brake, speedometer, and potentially the shift knob and shift lever in today. So I gotta wait for this to dry. I'll put another coat on it, a couple more coats. So anyways, what else? Got some more brake line in. Some more brake line in, making a mess. Got some more ends. These are the 3/8 ends that I need to get into here, and I need to route this guy somewhere into this guy, into this proportioning valve. What else? That's it right now. Okay, speedometer's in, and you'll notice once you get it in, you obviously can't spin anymore. Shift knob, the shift cable right here, you pull it out. It doesn't have a lot of play. It's got little, fairly fine changes, so you'll be like, you're like, wait a minute, is that actually shifting? And yeah, it's actually shifting. It's got a real fine, pretty, but now one thing is, once you get this guy in, you actually push the other end. It's got the hole, and you actually, there's that big piece of steel, like once you shove that in, and then I think once you do a final, if you push this in as far as you can, I'm going to go back down here. I'm going to go back down here and see if I can pull it out. If I can, it hasn't gotten the latch. There's a needle with a little slot on it on the other end, and it's got to go fully into the seat, and it actually passes by a clip and actually connects, and you can't pull it out again. So that's what that side window is. I'll show you here. Okay, so this is a shifter down here, and if I did this right, if the clip was actually in place, otherwise I'll have to take this kind of back off, which is a real pain in the ass to do it down here. But if I did this right, this shouldn't pull out. Now this might pull out to a point, but you'll notice that the cable, no, that's not right. Okay, yeah, I know. There, what kind of engine is it? It's right there. Not a 331, it is a Hemi, so at least that'll at least get them in that direction. So, pretty big and pretty rude, but I really hate these brackets, but nothing I can do about them now. So, got a radiator cap. I need another one. Forgot about the second one I need. So.